Last night we were sitting watching the weather forecast on mute. We're sitting chatting, and I started to explain to Mark what an occluded front was, how it was shown on a weather map and what it meant. And I thought to myself, how do I know this? And it's something that I learned when I was about 10. We had, I think, each day at school, one or other of us had responsibility for going out to look at the readings on the Stevenson screen that we had in the school playground. I'm going to call it playground. In America you call it the schoolyard. So we had a Stevenson screen, and inside that were various instruments that measured wind, rain, air pressure, and there may have been something else, I'm not sure, but we each took turns to go and take readings. And I remember that we would look at what the newspaper said each day. So there was a small black and white weather map with the different the cold fronts or the warm fronts or the occluded fronts on them, and I remember learning some of that. And I can't believe that over 50 years later, I'm still remembering it very clearly. Probably, I don't know, about 25 years ago, 30 years ago, I sort of had a bit of an interest in maybe doing some studying a bit meteorology, and then life moved on, and I started my nurse training, and that all went on the back burner. Well, not on the back burner, it just went. So I thought, well, I'll have a look. I'll have a look online and see if there's anything I can do online to study meteorology. And I signed myself up for a course to study backyard meteorology. It's a Harvard X or Harvard edX course, and I've signed up for it. So I'm quite excited by that. It'll give me something to do, relieve my boredom when I'm sitting bored sometimes, when I can't do anything else and I'm not able to go out for a walk, or I can't busy myself doing something because I can't. So yeah, I can't believe I remember all these bits and pieces from all those years ago. It's astonishing. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I suppose the garden, and there's bits and pieces around the garden that suggest I have an interest in the weather. You know, my windmills and my girouette, which is up on the chimney, and various other paraphernalia. And we've got one of those old barometers that hang on a wall in the hallway. They're meant to be, I can't remember, they're meant to be placed on I think they're meant to be placed on an outside wall. It isn't on an outside wall, but it certainly reads air pressure. And Mark has often said, I don't think it's working. Well, I know it's working. I see it changing. I take notice of it. He's also got a barometer in his room that he came by Philip, but I won't say any more about that because it's, yeah, he's got a barometer in his room. Or it's an alternator, I think. It's an alternator that shows air pressure. Oh no, does he have to put the air pressure on it? I think he has to put the air pressure on it. So I started a little bit of reading last night, but it was quite late last night when I was doing this, and I was really tired. I've done a bit of reading this morning. I've downloaded a book by the professor who is running the course, and that's about navigation and how people navigated before we had things like Google Maps and satellites, and you know, so old navigational things. I can't think of the word, and I'm not going to stand there for hours trying to think of it. So yeah, that's what I did. It's not very warm out here. It's quite overcast. Well, it's not. Yeah, I don't know. We've got a high cloud, but it's So it's not overcast really. I suppose we've just got high cloud, no sun. You can hear all the birds. I'll be able to explain all that cloud to you in a few months' time. The first assignment or quiz isn't until the 1st of March, and I'm bored already. I want to do the quiz. I don't want to be bumming around waiting till the 1st of March for things to start. But I'll just have to read and read and entertain myself and learn as much as I can, ready for the quiz. I'm sure the whole course is going to be quite easy. I don't think it's going to really challenge me. The only challenging bit for me will be physics and maths, because I'm crap at, well, I don't know physics and I'm crap at maths. However, when I did a management course back in the early 2000s, I had to do a diploma in management in order to manage the nursing home. One of the courses was on cost benefit analysis, and I was the only one that passed first time in the class. I don't know how, because I do not do maths in the way that people do maths. Yeah, I never got on with maths at school, but I obviously managed this course quite well. I went to see Claire and Etienne yesterday. I went to pick up my framed painting, or pastel, that I published yesterday, and we had coffee with them yesterday afternoon, sitting around talking about life and death, talking about religion and beliefs. We talked again about what happened 18 months ago to Etienne when he had a really, really massive heart attack. And for a very brief moment during his journey to hospital, he was dead. And so we talked again about how everything had fallen into place that day, how he'd meant to be out sailing with a friend, had gone down to, I don't know where he would have gone down to, because we're about 3 hours from the sea, but he was meant to have gone sailing, and that he wasn't there. I don't know why. He was very ill, and his friend was about to drive him down to the hospital in Memorion, and another friend said, why don't you just call Samu? So they called Samu. An ambulance turned up really quickly, and a helicopter was available. He was taken by ambulance up to the Stade in Saint-Savin, and a helicopter arrived, airlifted him to Poitiers University Hospital, and he had been operated on within an hour. A surgeon was available. Everything fell into place, and it was just amazing. Quite a miracle in some ways, that everything just fell into place. Had he been sailing, had he been driven to Memorion, had the ambulance not been available, he wouldn't be here. And by the end of talking about that, again, I was crying, because it's just so emotional. It's so scary, and it sort of reminds me that you never know. You never know when your time is up. You never know when you're going to be having your last conversation. You never know when, you know, your husband or your wife or your child is going off out to school or to work, and they're not going to come back. You never know. That makes me want to appreciate, and I do anyway, but it makes me want to appreciate every single minute, because you don't know when it's your turn. So yeah, quite moving again yesterday. And now he's really well. I think he had 3 or 4 stents during that first operation, and he had a further 4 over a period of months afterwards, and now he's really well. And I had said to Mark the other day, I said, you know, he seems really well now, and you know, busy and physically well, and it was quite apparent to me, and I said to him, you know, physically, are you feeling much better? And he said yes, absolutely, and that he was so tired beforehand, hyper fatigue beforehand. So It's amazing, isn't it? He's got a second chance at life, and I'm really pleased and very aware that we're all reaching an age where we're going to start losing our um, friends. And I can remember Mum and Dad reaching an age where their friends started to fall by the wayside, and we're coming to that. We're coming up to that as we age. Oh, what a boring, what a morbid blog. But I am a bit real, as you know. We do talk about life and death. Anyway, that's what's going on. I'm cold, so I'm going back in. And it's about 11 o'clock, and I'm going to have my second cup of coffee. So, have a nice Sunday. See you all again, eventually.